Ever find yourself needing like really high stakes information? Or maybe you're just fascinated by the whole world of private investigators who operate way up there. Well, today we're doing a deep dive into one specific agency, Attnight Private Intelligence, based purely on what they put out there publicly.
Yeah, we're basically looking at their website, checking out some related news articles we could find.
Right.
The idea is to pull out the key insights, help you understand what they're claiming, and maybe get a feel for how legit they might be, like our own little intel assessment.
Okay, let's get into it. So, Attnight, they pitch themselves as providing high-stakes intelligence, and their clients, influential families, big studios, music labels, even government bodies.
But, and this is a big but.
Yeah, here's the kicker. The minimum budget they state is $500,000, plus a retainer.
Wow. Okay. So they're really aiming high there. Definitely a very specific, very wealthy audience.
Totally. That exclusivity feels pretty deliberate.
It does. It positions them way up in a niche market, probably handling or claiming to handle extremely sensitive stuff. That kind of retainer suggests, major resources, long-term jobs.
So what do? Well, the list is long. Complex financial fraud investigations, high-profile legal fights.
Okay. Standard PI stuff, but maybe at a higher level.
And then manhunts. They actually mention infiltrating criminal networks, providing real-time intel for authorities.
Manhunts. That's ambitious.
It doesn't stop there. High-risk situations, kidnappings, terrorism. They claim to do proactive risk assessment, protective measures. Plus, they talk up their elite field operatives, covert operations for securing information or disrupting networks, strategic advice. It's a lot.
It's a huge range of services they're claiming. I mean, it makes them sound incredibly versatile, very resourceful.
Right.
But the thing is, there aren't really any specific examples, for any of it.
Yeah.
Makes it hard to really judge their actual experience. Usually, agencies, even discrete ones, might offer anonymized case studies or something.
Exactly. And that vagueness ties into this. Try finding an About Us page or any company history on their site.
Nothing there.
Nope. But they're linked to a parent company called One World.
Okay.
And One World is described as this multinational information technology company, global news syndicate, and private intelligence agency. Quite the mouthful.
Well, hold on. IT, news, and private intelligence.
Yeah.
All under one roof.
They even have their own news website, oneworldmedia.com.co, and talk about a war on cyber criminals.
That mixing of news and intelligence gathering is definitely something to note. Potential conflict of interest, maybe?
Yeah.
Objectives influencing the news.
Could be. And just to clarify, there are other outfits called One World Media, like a UK charity, a US media group. But Attnight seems to fall under One World Corp.
Gotcha. But finding out who actually owns or runs One World Corp or Attnight directly.
Really difficult. Very little info out there. And if you search for Attnight's reputation beyond their own websites and that One World news site.
Let me guess. Not much.
Pretty minimal. Most news hits seem to be about one particular missing person case, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. And guess who published most of those stories?
Their own One World media outlet.
Bingo. They also apparently filed a motion to intervene in some other legal case, but details are sparse.
So a very curated, very limited, independent online footprint. That's kind of unusual for an agency claiming to operate at this level. You'd sort of expect some broader mentions.
Yeah, you would. Now, they do list affiliations with some big-name law firms, Bonjean, Lovely and Singer, Mesereau.
High-profile names.
Definitely. Patty's, Vanderveen, too. But we looked at those law firms' websites.
And no mention of Attnight.
Not that we could find. Same story with the government agencies. They claim relationships with the FBI, though their site was down when we checked. DEA, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals, rewards for justice.
Nothing confirming those collaborations on the agency sites either?
Nope. Zero confirmation. And no mention of professional certifications or memberships in intelligence organizations either.
Okay, so that's a pattern. Claimed connections, but no easy way to verify them independently. That definitely raises a question mark.
And then there's the contact info, or lack thereof.
Oh.
Just 2 email addresses, that's it. No physical address listed anywhere. No phone number.
Really? For an agency wanting $500,000 retainers? Just email. That's, well, that's odd. Lack of accessibility, accountability maybe?
Seems like it. Basic transparency, contact details, that builds trust, especially in this field.
Absolutely. So summing up the image, the website itself looks professional.
Yeah, sophisticated design, language is clear, talk about high-stakes clients, has testimonials, lists those firms and agencies we mentioned.
Okay.
But then you have these red flags, the really vague slogans like obtain the unobtainable, the heavy emphasis on secrecy, working in the shadows.
Right, the mystique.
The super exclusive clientele focus. Claims about huge successes like vindicating the wrongfully accused, especially post #MeToo, restoring reputations, getting people out of jail, but zero specifics.
Unsubstantiated success stories are always a bit of a warning sign.
Plus, generic stock photos, those potential conflicts of interest we talked about working with law enforcement and potentially those facing charges, and no mention anywhere of accreditation or oversight.
Okay, so putting it all together, Attnight presents this image, this very polished, high-end, exclusive intelligence agency vibe.
Yeah.
But when you actually look at the publicly available info, like we just did, there are some pretty significant gaps. Transparency issues.
Definitely.
The lack of verifiable details, history, leadership, those claimed affiliations, plus the vague language. It all suggests you should be, well, cautious.
Absolutely. If you're out there and you do have that kind of budget, you'd want a lot more solid proof before writing that check. Do your due diligence, for sure.
It may be a final thought for you to chew on. Thinking about that parent company, One World, mixing intelligence work with running a news syndicate.
Yeah.
What kind of impact could that have? How might it shape the information we all consume?
Analysis of Attnight Private Intelligence. Attnight Private Intelligence Agency, as presented on its website, offers a suite of intelligence and strategic operations services catering to a high-profile clientele that includes influential families, leading studios, major labels, and critical government entities. The agency positions itself as a provider of high-stakes intelligence and emphasizes its commitment to excellence in delivering tailored solutions aimed at achieving victory for its clients. The financial requirements for engaging Attnight's services are substantial, with a minimum budget exceeding $500,000 and a minimum retainer of the same amount as of September 2024. This pricing strategy clearly targets a very specific and affluent segment of the market. The services offered by Attnight are described in detail on their website and encompass a broad range of activities. These include criminal investigations, where the agency specializes in deciphering intricate schemes and providing evidence for the apprehension and prosecution of perpetrators, particularly in cases of complex financial fraud and high-profile legal battles. Manhunts are another key service, utilizing advanced intelligence gathering techniques, including the infiltration of criminal networks, to locate missing individuals and track down fugitives, providing real-time intelligence to authorities for safe apprehension. In high-risk situations such as kidnappings, violent crimes, and terrorist threats, Attnight emphasizes civilian safety, employing proactive risk assessments, protective measures, and real-time threat response. The agency also boasts elite operatives for field operations, drawn from intelligence units to execute missions requiring precision and discretion, as well as covert operations designed to secure critical information or disrupt criminal networks silently and effectively. Strategic advisement and execution form a significant part of Attnight's offerings, including crisis management, operational planning, tailored strategies, real-time adjustments, end-to-end execution, and post-operation analysis. The agency highlights its use of advanced analytics and artificial intelligence to uncover insights, combined with human-centric intelligence for nuanced solutions, claiming their systems can identify patterns, predict behaviors, and uncover hidden information. Collaborative intelligence, leveraging a global network of expertise, is also presented as a key aspect of their approach. Attnight further emphasizes its experience in high-profile litigation support, claiming their intelligence has been crucial in securing evidence that has significantly impacted major legal battles. A notable service mentioned is vindicating the wrongfully accused, particularly in the context of the #MeToo era, through intelligence gathering and media strategies aimed at discrediting spurious claims and restoring reputations, including securing the release of wrongfully incarcerated individuals. Finally, Attnight states it is involved in the strategic and safe capture of high-risk individuals, working with agencies like the FBI and U.S. Marshals Service domestically and internationally, and assisting federal prosecutors by providing crucial evidence to strengthen cases against high-threat figures. The language used to describe these services is assertive and targets a specific, high-end clientele, creating an impression of exclusivity and exceptional capabilities. While the list of services is extensive, specific methodologies or examples of past successes beyond general statements are largely absent on the main services page. This lack of concrete details might be intentional to protect operational security, but it could also raise questions about the depth of their expertise in each area. Information regarding the company's background and history is notably absent from the Attnight Private Intelligence website, as there is no dedicated About Us page or company history section. This lack of transparency regarding their history and team is a potential concern for a company operating in a trust-based industry like intelligence. However, the website and related news articles indicate that Attnight Private Intelligence is part of One World. One World is described as a multinational information technology company, global news syndicate and private intelligence agency. This parent company has been reported to have declared war on a nationwide web of cyber criminals, and is actively involved in news reporting related to Attnight's activities, primarily through the oneworldmedia.com.co domain. This connection to a global news syndicate raises questions about potential conflicts of interest or the blending of intelligence gathering and media operations. The declaration of war also suggests a potentially aggressive or unconventional approach. Further investigation reveals the existence of multiple entities named One World Media. These include a UK-based non-profit charity focused on supporting journalists and filmmakers and a US-based One World Media Group, involved in music, audiobooks, and publishing. It is important to distinguish these entities from One World Corp, which owns Attnight, as indicated on the oneworldmedia.com.co website. The lack of information on the direct ownership or key personnel of Attnight Private Intelligence itself is another notable point. While the website mentions relationships with legal firms and government agencies, it does not name specific individuals within Attnight. This anonymity of the agency's leadership and team further contributes to the lack of transparency. An assessment of Attnight Private Intelligence's online reputation reveals a limited presence beyond its own website and affiliated news platform. No independent reviews or mentions in business directories were found within the provided snippets. This absence of external validation makes it difficult to gauge public perception and reputation beyond the agency's own claims. News articles related to Attnight are primarily focused on their involvement in the search for missing teenager Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Notably, these articles are predominantly published by One World itself, suggesting a degree of self-promotion. There is also a mention of Attnight Media Group and One World filing a motion to intervene in another legal case. The lack of independent reporting on their broader operations is noteworthy. The Attnight website prominently lists affiliations with several high-profile law firms, including Bonjean Law Group, Laveley & Singer, Mesereau Law, Pattis & Associates, and Van der Veen, Hartshorn, Levin & Lindheim. These affiliations could suggest a level of credibility within the legal field. However, a review of the websites of these mentioned law firms did not reveal any explicit mention of an affiliation with Attnight Private Intelligence. This discrepancy raises questions about the nature and depth of these claimed relationships. Similarly, Attnight's website mentions relationships with top-tier government agencies such as the FBI, DIA, Secret Service, U.S. Marshals Service, and the Rewards for Justice program. While these associations could indicate a level of trust and a track record of delivering results, a review of the websites of these government agencies did not confirm collaborations with private intelligence firms in general or Attnight specifically. The FBI website was inaccessible during the review. This lack of confirmation from the agencies' websites casts doubt on the extent or formality of these relationships. Furthermore, the website does not explicitly mention any specific certifications held by the agency or its operatives, nor any memberships in professional intelligence organizations. The absence of recognized industry certifications further contributes to the difficulty in verifying their expertise and adherence to professional standards. The contact information provided on the Attnight Private Intelligence website includes two email addresses, clients@attnight.agency and hx@attnight.agency. However, no physical address or phone number is listed on the website. The lack of a physical address and phone number is unusual for a professional service and could raise concerns about accessibility and accountability. Without external contact details, it is impossible to confirm the consistency or legitimacy of the provided email addresses. The Attnight private intelligence website presents a highly professional image through its sophisticated design, clear language, and focus on high-stakes clientele. The website emphasizes its expertise in intelligence gathering, field operations, and strategic advisement, targeting influential individuals, corporations, and government entities. The language used is confident and assertive, positioning Attnight as the gold standard and the ultimate ally. The testimonials and client lists, including names of prominent law firms and references to work with agencies like the FBI and DIA, further enhance the perception of professionalism. However, several aspects raise concerns. The claims made about services are often vague and overly broad, such as the promise to obtain the unobtainable and illuminate your victory. The frequent emphasis on secrecy and operating in the shadows, while perhaps reflective of the nature of intelligence work, can also be a cause for caution, potentially suggesting a lack of transparency. The explicit targeting of elite clientele and the high minimum retainer of $500,000 might alienate potential clients and raise questions about their accessibility and focus. The website also includes unsubstantiated claims of success, such as securing liberation for the falsely incarcerated and shielding against the onslaught of public opinion in #MeToo scenarios without providing specific case details or verifiable evidence. The use of generic stock imagery and the absence of visuals of their team or operations further contribute to a sense of lacking concrete information. The claimed relationships with both law enforcement agencies and high-profile individuals facing criminal charges could present potential conflicts of interest. Finally, the website does not mention any accreditation, licensing, or oversight from relevant regulatory bodies, making it difficult to verify their legitimacy and adherence to professional standards. Based on the analysis of the Attnight private intelligence website and available external information, several red flags and inconsistencies warrant attention. These include vague and overly broad claims about services, a strong emphasis on secrecy, the targeting of an exclusively elite clientele with a very high financial barrier, unsubstantiated claims of past successes, the use of generic imagery, potential conflicts of interest arising from claimed relationships, a lack of information regarding accreditation or oversight, the absence of a dedicated, about us, page or readily available company history, the lack of a physical address and phone number for contact, the absence of independent reviews or mentions in business directories, news coverage primarily originating from their parent company, and the lack of confirmation of claimed affiliations with law firms and government agencies from the entities themselves. The anonymity of the agency's leadership and team, coupled with the connection to a global news syndicate, also raises ethical considerations regarding the potential blurring of lines between intelligence gathering and media operations. In conclusion, while the Attnight private intelligence website projects an image of professionalism and expertise, a thorough analysis reveals several significant concerns. The lack of transparency regarding their history, team, and operational methodologies, coupled with the absence of independent verification of their claims and affiliations, suggests a need for caution. Potential clients should conduct thorough due diligence and critically evaluate the agency's promises against the limited verifiable information available. The high financial commitment required further underscores the importance of ensuring the legitimacy and reliability of Attnight private intelligence before engaging their services.